Hello and welcome to Film Companion South. Today we're going to be talking about Lijo Pellissery's Jallikattu. So this is the premise. A buffalo that's about to be slaughtered somehow escapes and begins to run wild in a village in Idukki. That is the premise. Now imagine the situation. We're talking about a buffalo. It's not like a panther or something. And unlike the Jallikattu situation in Tamil Nadu festivals, it's not been prodded or provoked or whatever it is. So it's not exactly a very dangerous situation. In fact, it all sounds a little absurd that for 90 minutes of the running time, we are going to be threatened by the prospect of a buffalo that's running amok. But this absurdity is very integral to this premise, which is adapted from S. Hareesh's short story Maoist. I googled up the story and found that it actually has a second buffalo, and it's also about the Maoist situation, about everybody's right to freedom and things like that. And even in this film, the buffalo is a kind of metaphor. But the film, with actors like Antony, Varghese and Chemban Vinod, is first and foremost a textbook example of how to make an experimental movie that is also a most entertaining movie. The absurdness is everywhere, beginning with the in-your-faceness, the elaborate fakeness of Prashant Pillai's magnificent score and Raghunath Ravi's very ornate sound design. The inhalation and exhalation of people's breath sounds like the hissing of steam in pressure cookers. The ticking of clocks sounds like a hammer falling on an anvil. If you heard just the music album alone, you'd think it's the soundtrack for some kind of avant-garde dance performance, but the movie itself is some kind of avant-garde performance, in the sense that it's not naturalistic. Toss in Girish Gangadharan's cinematography and Deepu Joseph's propulsive editing, which is also sometimes distancing, and you have one hell of a sound and light show. A set piece that takes place around a well is literally one of these sound and light shows. It's a huge setup. But then Lijo and his collaborators also managed to create fantastic set pieces with literally nothing, when nothing happens, when nothing more happens than a man deciding an elaborate feast for his daughter's engagement. It happens in a single take. The invention, the joyous energy in the filmmaking gave me such a high that I didn't care that it ultimately all has to come to mean something, in the sense that the metaphor is the least interesting and most obvious aspect of Jallikattu. Yes, all men are pigs, or in this case buffaloes, or just mere animals. At times it appears that we are still hunter-gatherers, hunting and gathering everything within our reach, and the characterizations are so paper thin that it's not clear whether a character is imposing himself on this woman, or there's some kind of personal history and she actually loves him but doesn't want him at that particular moment. But then this is not a film that can accommodate personal histories, because if these people were individualized, it would diminish the horde mentality that is a very integral part of the film's design, which culminates in a series of stunningly expressionistic images. The political points register a little better, but only a little. A naturalist, the kind of guy who catches cow's urine in a pot, that is Gaumutra, says of the buffalo, "Let him live, this place belongs to him too." But Lijo instantly undercuts this moment with a joke. I think Lijo is basically trying to tell us that it's easier to preach than to practice what we preach, and it's much more fun to gossip about, say, the disreputable origins of the local butcher's father. In other words, Jallikattu wants to transform local history and local color into something far more primal and universal, in the sense that even if the message becomes repetitive after a point, the film is always rewarding. The screenplay is essentially a series of vignettes, and some of them are screamingly funny, but after a while the humor disappears and we're left with the sense that there's all this testosterone out there and it needs to be expended on something. So the frenzy keeps increasing till we get this stunning geometric formation at night, and we realize that it's not just night as in day and night, but also the dark night of the soul. So that's it about Jallikattu. The full review is up on the Film Companion website. If you like this video, do subscribe to Film Companion South, and see you soon at the movies.